كيف السبيل أنت بالتحدي تصنع المستحيل.
Tell you what, make some time to listen out after 11 o'clock, because this is really important. Mariam Kwanda, as you know, hosts the next show, and she'll be talking about the issue of autism, because this being Autism Awareness Month. So make the time of following that, because one of the guests she'll have is Elfriede Bartman, who will talk specifically around autism. And it's something that I don't know if we talk enough about it. There's just so much about so many issues that we just think are unimportant to you and your life, unless it happens to someone close to you. So what does that really mean? There are young children with autism. There are many others. What does that really mean? All of that coming up after 11 o'clock, right? Okay, let's get to talking business. Yesterday we started talking to Abdullah Verachia around the all-important issue of business and business strategy, maybe even more so now than ever before. So let's get him on the line. Abdullah Verachia, thanks for joining us once again. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam, Ashraf. How are you doing?
Very good indeed. Thank you. Right. So you are the strategist, and I'm making that point. And you, besides you being a lecturer at Gibbs, Gordon Institute of Business Science, right? Yesterday we started talking about just broader views. I thought let's pick up. What is it you want to pick up now?
Sure. So I think yesterday you asked me the question, what should businesses in a very turbulent, very turmoil environment look at? And so I thought today it would be important to look at the issue of cash flow that I spoke about yesterday. So often when we enter periods of uncertainty, or when we've got economic challenges the way we've seen in the last 12 months, there are parts of an economy that slow down. In our case, there are parts of an economy that have come to an absolute standstill, as we see. Think of tourism, think of some environments of retail. And yes, we've opened up, but it's just not the same. And so businesses often are then questioned with, what do we do? And how do we navigate all of this uncertainty? And for me, Ashraf, there are two parts to this. The first one is you've really got to look at the immediate impact. And that means that you've got to look at what is the cash flow environment of the business. In effect, what we're asking is, do you have some kind of sustainability to be able to get the business to navigate out of the 6 or 8 months if you're not getting the requisite revenue and turnover that comes about to manage all of the expenses that come with it? And so that's the first part, is really looking at, can you have the reserves? And if not, are you able to access some money to be able to navigate some of the uncertainty in the medium term? The second thing that then comes out of that is to be able to say, how has the environment changed, and can your business proactively adapt? In effect, the question we're asking is, can your business think about new opportunities to be able to get revenue to come in? And then the last one is about creating efficiencies. When business is doing well, we're able to add costs, we're able to add expenses. But when business is under pressure, we've got to look at the expenses of the business and find ways to create efficiencies. So in effect, are there expenses that you're able to reduce significantly? Are there ways in which you're able to take away some of the expenses that were there in some of the good days? And so the point is, these three things give us the ability to navigate difficult and complex periods. Because I often say that economic environments are circular in nature. So sometimes we've got slow economic growth, and at other times we've got rising economic growth. So there will be periods where the business environment changes. And it's the same with where we are at the moment. The question or the provocation for business owners is, how do you navigate the difficult period? And for me, it's these three parts. It's cash flow, it's being able to find new opportunities in a changing environment, and it's managing efficiencies in the business.
So what then is the answer? I mean, how do you navigate it? Either people have planned well in advance, or they haven't. They've been flying by the seat of their pants, and now they're faced with those. Well, let's say they're faced with cash flow problems. So what should they be doing now?
Yeah, I think for me, there's 3 or 4 parts, right? If you're facing cash flow problems, the idea is not to become so overwhelmed with the reality of the cash flow problems, the seat of the pants that you speak about, Ashraf, but to then identify, are there opportunities to be able to get some cash injection into the business? This requires you to perhaps look at funding sources. The one type of funding source is to be able to say, is there an opportunity to bring in somebody who's in my friend or family network and to request a bit of funding to assist me, and to be quite honest with them in terms of some of the complexity and the challenges that your business faces. That's the one. It's often difficult because you're not sure whether you're going to be able to pay that money back. The second one is to look for Islamic sources of finance and to be able to say, can I get a capital injection into the business for the next 6 or 12 months to be able to navigate some of this complexity? And then the third way is, and this is something that business owners struggle with, is perhaps to provide an opportunity for an equity participation into your business. In effect, what we're saying is, if you don't have the liquidity to continue to run your business, the last thing you want to do is close the business. The alternative is either to get some kind of funding source, or alternatively to give somebody equity in the business, and in the process you get some liquidity and some funding to come in. Over and above, you also get somebody perhaps with a different set of expertise. Perhaps you get somebody who's not so clouded by the emotion of the challenge of the business. And so for me, there are two parts, right? You either can get debt or equity. The debt component requires you to pay it back. It requires you to have some level of confidence that the business is going to shift, or the alternative is to bring in some equity, a partner, somebody who's going to be invested into your business. But that requires you to give up a slice of your business, which some business owners don't like.
Okay. We leave that for another time about talking about just that. If you're going to go for the equity route, how do you go about it? Like, how do you bring someone into your business, give up a share of your business, with the hope that it's the right person and the right type of capital injection? Abdullah Verachia, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your time. As always, The Strategist, you can follow him, thestrategist.com, I think, or .coza is his website. But Abdullah, feel free to even tweet about it and all that. I'll certainly share those links as well. Yeah, how do you get an equity partner if that is what is required? We'll talk to Imran Chanara in just a moment.
Mornings with Ashraf